All right, so our Unit 10, coding by hand. First thing is we're going to look at some recursive functions just with math, just kind of to kind of discuss recursion. So if we have f at 4, that's going to be equal to negative f of 4 minus 2, which would obviously be negative f of 2. And that function is going to be equal to negative f of 2 minus 2, which would then be negative f of 0. And we know what f of 0 is, right? That's our kind of first definition here. F of 0 equals 1. So this is going to be equal to a negative 1, which would then be a positive 1, obviously. So number 1 is going to be just a positive 1 here. So basically, this function is just going to keep going until we get to f of 0. And once we get to f of 0, then we have our answer. And pretty much our two answers are going to be either 1 or negative 1. I'm going to erase that, and we'll do f of 5. All right, so f of 5, that's going to equal negative f of 3, right? I subtract 2 from it. That's going to then equal negative f of 1. Okay, when I subtract 2 from that, that's going to equal negative f of negative 1. And hopefully we see our issue here, right? We're never going to get f of 0 when this is the case. So if any are undefined, we're going to write undefined according to our directions. So this is undefined. And then this last one, f of 6 is going to equal negative f of 4. Okay, we're going to keep going with that one. So that's going to equal negative f of 2, right? 4 minus 2 is 2. And that's going to equal negative f of 0. And that now finally is going to equal a negative 1, which will make that a negative 1 for our answer. All right, we have this coding block here. So I'm going to complete the code fragment so that for a value returning method that implements the recursive formula f of n equals f of n minus 1 plus f of n minus 2 with base cases of f of 0 equals 1 and f of 1 equals 1. So our first if statement here will say if n equals 0, which is what we have there, or n equals 1, which is what we have there, then we are going to return 1. Else, we are going to return, and we're going to return the f of n minus 1 plus f of n minus 2. Notice that this function, or this method, is called f. So that's why we would use the method name there. So we're basically just calling that method again. All right, next part here, part 3. Write the output to the following call of the given message, passing dog to s. And before I get to number 3, when we start getting this code, I'm actually going to pause and I'm going to head to part 2. So go ahead and kind of pause this video. We're right around 4 minutes. Watch that part 2 and then come back here, and this might be a little bit easier for you if you're struggling. Otherwise, just keep going here if you want. All right, so for this part 3 here, we have s is going to equal dog to start. So then if s.length is equal to 1, clearly that length is not equal to 1. We're going to return s, but we're not going to do that. So then we go to else, and we're going to return the substring. So s.length minus 1. So the length is going to be 3. So 3 minus 1 would be 2. Plus the substring of 0 to s.length minus 1. So this first part is going to return the g, right? s dot length minus 1, so that would be 2, and that would continue through the rest of the word, but that is obviously the last letter of the word. All right, plus, then we're going to run this code again, right? It's calling the execute3 method. So we're calling it self, which is making it recursive. So now s is going to become, we got our 0 to s dot length minus 1, so it's going to be do. This obviously, once again, does not have a length of 1 when we start the method, so we're going to move down here. And on the second run, we're going to return the last letter, which is O. And then we're going to call the method again, being it's recursive, with s being d. So then we're going to return s, since it just has a length of 1, which then ends this method, and this ends that method, so we'll have the word dog backwards. Also the word God. All right, part 4. Write the output of the following code fragment passing 2 to n. So n equals 2. All right, if n is greater than 0, it is. Then we're going to run the method again. So now n equals 1, since 2 minus 1 is 1. N is still greater than 0, so we're going to do the method again recursively. N equals 0. Now this is not equal to 0 anymore, so we can end this code, which means we're going to print out 0. Actually, I'll put it up here. 0. And then, so this one finally ends. So then we can wrap this code up. So it's going to print out the 1. Then that finally ends, and we can print out the 2. So we're going to get 0 space 1 space 2. All right, starting this once again with n equals 2.